welcome to episode 4 of our first time healing in World of Warcraft. In our previous episode, we started our 0 to Keystone Hero challenge. Learned that I need to make sure I have the right talents for the weekly affix. Got our 4 set for Restoration Shaman, being on top of the healing meters in Raid, and we have not depleted a key yet. Will that change this episode? Let's find out. Welcome back everybody. At the moment, Sue Daddy is at item level 457 with a mythic rating of 1546. So we only need 954 more points to complete the challenge. Also today is Vault Day for Sue Daddy, but before we open the vault, we have to do 5 time walking dungeons. This will give us a champion piece of gear, so the last thing I want to do is open the vault, collect an item I need, then get the same thing from time walking dungeons. This week's time walking dungeon is Cataclysm. Now I have done a few dungeons from Cataclysm expansion, Throne of Tides and Vortex Pinnacle, so the rest of the dungeons are going to be new to me. We apply for our first time walking dungeon, and as per usual for heal spec, I'm in a group straight away. First dungeon we get to is the Black Rock Caverns. This is my first time in here, so hopefully it goes smoothly. First boss we get to is this ogre. Now I was healing fine, but I think I missed a dispel which stacks on the tank, causing him to die, which makes the whole group wipe. Now I know this is my fault and I wasn't really paying any attention, but the Death Knight in the group said to me in game chat after we released, "Wake up you stupid healer." Unfortunately you can't see it because my face cam is in the way. After this level of comment, I thought I would get my own back at him for being so nice. So the group continued the dungeon. After a while we got to the third boss. The tank kited him around the room a bit and did not realise we had to take him through the centre where the lava is pouring down to be able to do damage to him. But he also does big group damage when he's inside. This was the time for my revenge. Whilst the group damage was happening, I healed everyone else but the Death Knight. And the Death Knight died, of course. Shortly after killing the boss, I sent the Death Knight a message, and I did actually have this one for you to see. I said, "Wake up, DK." I don't think he was very happy with what I did, but it was only fair for me to get him back after his nice little comment at the beginning of the dungeon. After our conversation, he removed me from the group and I went back to Valdrakken. Let me know in the comments if you think I did the right thing or was it a bit too much. After our rubbish start, we actually finished all 5 time walking dungeons. We hand in the quest to receive the box, and wouldn't you believe it, we actually get our best in slot weapon from Farak, which we already have, but the one we have equipped is Veteran. Our new one is Champion, which is a really nice upgrade. Let's see what other upgrades we have in our vault. We open our vault to find out we have a neck, boots and wrist in raid section, cape and shoulders in the dungeon section. So none of these items are my best in slot, but the neck and cape are the weakest items I have equipped right now. Like any normal vault, I sim the vault and take it to QE live so I can see an idea of what I should take. The sim told me to take the neck and put 3 gems on it, but the neck is only champion and the cape is hero. I take a further look at the stats and the neck has no intellect on it at all while the cape has. I'm actually not going to listen to sim and take the cape as the hero in the long run will be better and I can craft a neck if I really need to. We take the cape and get a 14 Blackroot hold. Now it's time to see what affixes we have this week for Mythic Plus. This week's affixes are Tyrannical with Entangling and Bursting, the worst affix for healing. I'm definitely not looking forward to this week if we have to do higher keys than 14, but let's take it step by step and learn how to deal with Bursting. We start looking for our first dungeon of the week. The first dungeon we get something to is a 13 Alazar. I did this on a 4 last time on Tyrannical, so this will give us a few points for completing the key. The group comp for this dungeon is a Warlock, Druid and a Mage for DPS and a Paladin for tank. Since the last video, some of you in the comments pointed out I should not heal the tanks so much and Earth Shield the DPS instead, as most tanks will heal themselves but obviously help them out if they get below a certain point. So this key I decided to Earth Shield a DPS instead, which was squishy or had low health at that time. I naturally started putting Earth Shield on the tank at the beginning because me and the tank are the most important players in the group. So us two need to stay alive, but obviously I did not need to do that. You learn something new every day. Thank you everybody for all the tips, I really appreciate it. The rest of the dungeon goes very smoothly and we get to the last boss, Yasma. The fight is going very well and we all start and go to stack for the first mechanic. But suddenly a spider spawns next to where we're stacked, and I'm not paying attention as I'm looking at the health bars thinking I'm safe. Whilst everybody moves, I get hit by the spider, causing me to die. Luckily, the warlock reses me, allowing me to continue the fight. When we stack, I usually play a capacitor tome down to stun the eyes that we cannot allow to get to Yasma, or I use Thundershock and take it in turns each time the mechanic comes up. This is just basically to give the DPS more of a chance to kill them before they get to Yasma. In the end, we do kill Yasma, which leads us to timing the key. But there's no messing around today, we get accepted into the next key, which is a 13 Black Rook hold. The group comp is a Shaman, Demon Hunter and Mage for DPS with a Paladin tank. As a healer, the only thing I hate in this dungeon is the spiders on the stairs. It's not the spiders themselves, but it's if the tank stays in line of sight, so I can dispel him or anyone else for that matter. Stairs in general are not good for healing. I found this out the hard way doing this dungeon and others this series. The next boss we encounter is Smash Spite. His mechanics are really simple. If you get a red arrow above your head, that means he's going to charge at you and do damage to you. But another player can move in the way of it, take and reduce the damage. The other mechanic is not to fill the room with all the stuff on the floor from the beams. The beams target one random player, and you just need to guide the beams away from the middle to the edge of the room, so the whole group has as much room as possible to fight in. As you can see in the group, we love to have as much stuff on the ground as possible, but we do manage to finish him off before the room gets too full. We move on to the last boss, Talos. Once he transforms into his final form, you need to watch out for the Shadow Bolt, Vol 2.6? I don't know the name of the type, but that's what it says in the player add-on there. When he's about to cast it, DPS and everyone need to put a defensive on, as this deals a lot of damage to the group. What I do is place Healing Rain down for passive healing to the group, but I actually missed the cast, so the group takes a lot of damage. I do act after and place a Spirit Link totem down, but really I should have placed that down also, as well as Healing Rain, just to help out with the damage. Luckily, no one dies, and we kill him, which makes us time the key, which we actually free chested. For loot, we get Champion Legs, which we don't need. Would have been nice to get my best in slot neck from here please next time, Blizzard. Anyways, we're half out of the dungeon, back to Valdrakken. I think it's time to upgrade some items now, as we have 300 flight stones now and quite a few Drake crests. I upgraded my highest tier piece first, which is my shoulders as they are hero, and my leg tier piece after that. Soon after upgrading, we get summoned to the last dungeon of the night, which is a 13 rise. You can probably tell, but I've been trying to dodge the bursting affix. Don't worry, I will try it, just not now. The group comp for this dungeon is a Warlock, Priest, Paladin for DPS, and the same prop Paladin from the last dungeon. He did say hi Suv Daddy in the game chat when I joined, so it was nice to know I had a bit of a familiar face in the group. It was time to face the hardest boss in the dungeon, the Gauntlet. Let's see how we do this time. Will we get all the way to the end? You can actually bait where the mobs are aiming for you in the Gauntlet. If you point your character the direction where you want them to cast, they will place it in that direction. Once they cast it, just go the opposite direction. Just at the last bit, I bottle it, turn around, which then gets me caught in a cast to be taken back to the beginning. It was so close, but maybe next time. Luckily, the priest got through to start opening the gate. We move on to the second boss, where all of a sudden, the tank stops moving and disconnects from the game. Oh no, please don't let me lose my winning streak because the tank disconnected. We all waited for around 3 minutes and then he came back. I've had some bad experiences with disconnected players, especially if it's a tank or healer mid-fight. Let me know in the comments what your bad experiences are with people disconnecting. Finally, we get to the last boss. For some strange reason, the priest wanted to do the orbs. Usually it's the healer's job to do the orbs, but the priest was very nice to me here. See, there is some nice DPS out there who want to help the healer out. With no problem at all, we kill the last boss and time the key, and say goodbye to our fellow players. I think our next task is to try and see if we can get accepted into a heroic raid for a major seal. If you would like to see more of our 0 to Keystone Hero challenge on our first healer, we stream our progress live on YouTube and Twitch 3 times a week. The link for Twitch and all of my socials are in the description of the video. Anyways, back to the video. We come back the next day, hopefully this time we will get accepted into heroic raid. As last week, we was having a bit of trouble getting into a group, because we was low item level and people are only seeing Suv Daddy's progress is only normal. It's mainly because I turned off my mains progression on Raider.io, so it makes it fair for the challenge. We start looking for groups and it's taking a while to even get accepted, even as a healer. I'm really starting to feel like it's not going to happen this week either. But after around 10 minutes of waiting, we finally get accepted into a raid group. Thankfully, they have a warlock, so they summon me to a major seal. And wouldn't you believe it, our first heroic boss is Smolderon. I didn't think we'd be fighting him so soon, but let's see how we do. We put all our buffs on and we are ready to rumble. We start the fight pretty well, but I'm noticing that this group are pumpers. The other Restless Shaman in the group is doing 221k healing, while I'm only doing 100 at the most. Unfortunately, we don't succeed on the first pull and we all wipe with Smolderon on 5% health. With it being so close, the next pull has to be the kill. We all release and try again. On the second pull, I die. Well, this is embarrassing, but the group manages to kill Smolderon. To be honest, I can't believe I actually killed Smolderon on the first time being heroic. It makes me feel like a top healer for once. We next move on to Tindral. This was actually a fresh run I signed up for, but this group already killed Gnolru and Igra, and they did the skip. I feel heroic Tindral is a lot more easier than Smolderon. He's just mainly mechanics, unlike Smolderon, which is a DPS check. And Tindral's mechanics are a lot more easier in my opinion. And finally, a group that actually stacks on the beams that come down, which you can actually heal through. I did this with my guild, which is a lot more easier than actually trying to dodge the mechanic. We get to phase 3 and again I'm noticing the DPS players are actually really pumping. How the hell did I get into a group like this? I have no experience on Ready.io, yet they trust me to heal Tindral? They must have just thought, let's just give this guy a chance. Next, we move on to Farak. Now I'm really nervous about doing this as this is really throwing me into the deep end. Luckily, the group changes one of their DPS to another healer, so now we have 4 healers. So now we have a better chance of healing through all the damage that Farak does. The first pull goes well, we get to the second phase and we all wipe on Farak on 50% health. Which is not bad for the first pull, but I'm a little worried they are going to kick me because again I am the lowest healer on the meters. Whilst all the other healers are doing over 100k easily, and the other Restless Shaman is doing 230k at most on Farak. While waiting for the next pull, the raid leader kindly gave me a Vantus rune, which was very nice of him to do so. Come on Shax, we got this time. We begin the second pull and get to the second phase again. As a healer, your main objective in the second phase is to heal the adds and make sure they get to the heart of a Midrisil. But just make sure no one hits them with the red lines on the floor or they will take damage or die. When the adds spawn, this group actually pings them so you know where they are. Honestly, the ping system is the best thing they ever implemented into the game. It helps so much in pugs with telling you what people want. We finally get to phase 3. Before we began the fight, the raid leader told me not to take any seeds as they had people assigned for them. Great news for me, so I don't actually mess up the pull. We go to stack for the first seed and unfortunately there's a seed that turns red from being hit by the mechanics, which once it gets hit it does AoE damage in the area it gets hit in, causing me to die. But luckily I have reincarnation. I bring myself back to life and see there's only one seed left to protect us, and Farak is on 20% health. Can we do it? We use our last seed when Farak is on 15% health. I think it's going to be a wipe at this stage. Without the seeds, we are finished. The next Apocalypse Roar is about to be cast. The raid group stacks for this one last push. AMZ gets thrown down by the Death Knight. I also place a Healing Tide totem down, but the Hunter and Mage go down. But what's this? The rest of the group survives? This is the last push. Farak is only 7% health. Can we do this? And you won't believe it, we actually killed Farak on the first time in Heroic and Midrisil, and we got AOTC. This was not part of the challenge, but I think I might add this requirement to future challenges. We need on 3 irons for killing Farak, and even some of them I rolled quite low. There actually isn't many people in the raid able to roll need. I'm guessing it's because this group is already stacked for gear, and for the first time ever I win all 3 items that I rolled on. Which was a Flame Walk Curio, which can be taken to a vendor to get heroic tier piece of your choosing. Mythic Blossom of a Midrisil, which I know isn't my best in slot, but I already have a heroic blossom, so I will just swap it around. And we get Boots of the Molten Horde, but I feel bad for taking all these items. So I look at who else rolled for the boots, and the Hunter did. I sent him a message and said, would you like the boots? He kindly accepted and I traded him the boots. This group just got me AOTC on my first time in Heroic. Least I can do is be nice and share the loot and not be greedy. After killing Farak, we move on to Volcross and Lardar. Volcross we kill easily and I don't need on any items. Lardar dies also and the Hearthstone drops, and also my best in slot ring. I'm very lucky tonight as I win both of these items also. Next is Cancel and Nimue. You guessed it, we kill Cancel and the Pip Trinket drops. I obviously roll for it because this is my best in slot trinket. We roll 88, which makes us top to win it. and I could not believe it. Another player steals the pip trinket from me and rolls 100. That's the second time that's happened to me. I think my luck has definitely run out now. After my heart was broken again, we killed Nimue also, and our best in slot shield drops with a wrist and a cape. So I need on the shield and wrist, and I agreed on the cape. What the hell is this luck? I win all 3 items? I seriously can't believe my luck. I've won 8 items in this raid. Apart from losing the pip trinket, I am very happy with what happened tonight. We got loads of loot and AOTC in one run. We said goodbye to the amazing group we just had and teleport back to Valdrakken. But before I forget, we need to go back to the Emerald Dream to hand in the curio we got from raid to get a tier piece of our choosing from the vendor. The tier piece we pick is hands, as the ones we have on are veteran. Unlike all the other pieces of tier we have, they are champion and above. And to celebrate, I'm going to transmog Suvdaddy in a heroic shaman gear. We look so cool right now. The shaman tier set this season just looks incredible. After a little fashion upgrade, we'll look to see if there's any keys available. This time we're actually going to try bursting for the first time. Wish me luck. The only key I want to avoid this week is Everbloom, as that has a lot of ads. And for bursting week, I think it will be a real pain to do. The first key we get accepted into is a 15 Black Rook hold. The group for this dungeon is a warrior, evoker, paladin for DPS, and a paladin tank. As soon as we get into our first fight with ads, bursting pops up. And it wasn't too bad to deal with as long as the tank doesn't pull too much, which in this case he doesn't. But also I found out I can dispel bursting, which I actually never knew about. So if someone is super low on health and bursting happens, I can dispel that player, stopping them from dying from the affix. While bursting is happening on every pull, I'm dispelling it as much as possible on players that need it. And we actually get to the final boss. Everything is going well until I die to his little ninja shuriken that hits me in the back, leading me to die. But wait, this is not the best bit. I'm waiting for one of the paladins to battle res me, which none of them do. So the evoker dies, followed by the tank shortly after. So the rep paladin battle reses the tank, then the evoker? I'm in a state of shock. Why battle res the evoker when you need the healer up more to survive? So they find out the hard way and the group wipes. We release and head back to the boss, but now the tank is starting to lag, and he's not wanting to pull until he is better. We only have 4 minutes left to kill the boss. Hurry up! I don't want to lose my winning streak. The tank decides to pull even with having bad lag, and we manage somehow to kill the boss and timing our first key with bursting. And again, it's my lucky night. My best in slot neck has dropped. I'm actually over the moon. After 3 weeks of trying to find a better neck, we finally have one. And to be honest, bursting wasn't that bad actually. I don't know what I was so worried about. We head back to Valdrakken and straight away to the auction house and get 3 tiered medallions to give us 3 gem slots on our neck. We also buy 4 gems of Radiant Alexstrasite because our best in slot ring we got from raid earlier also has a gem slot on it. After upgrading our neck and ring with gems, we have gathered 600 flight stones and 107 Drake crests. So I think it's time to upgrade some gear. We upgrade our waist from 457 to 467 item level, our new hero hands to 476, and legs to 476. Also, our current item level now for Suvdaddy is 468, and our gear is looking really good. After our amazing luck the other day, I return on Suvdaddy hoping to do a few more keys. This time I'm not going to warm up and just jump straight into 15 and 16 level keys. We get accepted into a 16 Dark Heart Thicket. But before we go and meet the rest of the group, I have run out of Tempered Versatility potions. So I make my way to the auction house and buy some more. I can only afford 5 at the minute as I spent most of my gold buying gems and tiered medallions for my neck. Hopefully the rest of the money will last me a while before I have to do any more world quests to get some more gold. I get summoned to the dungeon and the group comp is a paladin, evoker and hunter for DPS and a demon hunter tank. The first pull of the dungeon hits this group like a ton of bricks. They're taking so much damage, I'm starting to panic a little here. The hunter is the first one to die and then the evoker. But the paladin stays alive and is doing all the damage, doing a whopping 500k DPS. And I'm doing between 130k and 150k healing. Why am I doing so much healing on this first pull? This is insane. Every pull we seem to be doing is taking a lot of damage. I'm having to use a lot of my cooldowns to keep this group alive. We arrived at the first boss and on the DPS meters I noticed something. The hunter and the evoker are not doing a lot of damage. The hunter is doing around 30k to 50k damage, while the evoker is doing the exact same thing. That is not enough damage for this boss on Tyrannical. The paladin is doing over 150k damage, so he's doing all the work. Finally, we get the boss down, but while we move on in the dungeon, I take a look at the evoker and hunter's item level, just out of curiosity. And I knew it, these two players are really low item level. The evoker is item level 434 and the hunter is item level 447. That's why they're taking so much damage and not doing a lot of damage either. I will be amazed if we time this key with these two in here. As we are going through the dungeon, the evoker and hunter die multiple times, but we do manage to get to the last boss, Xavius. Again, the hunter and the evoker are not doing enough damage, and they both die in the second phase, leaving the people who are actually geared finish the key, with only 8 seconds left. Now that was close. I don't want to get into a group like that again. I'm fine with carrying one player, but to carry 2 low item level players is just insane. We leave the hardest dark heart thicket of my life to search for one last dungeon of the night. Hopefully it will be a better group than the last one. But the good news is we still have my winning streak. Our next dungeon is the 15 Throne of Tides. The group comp is a hunter, paladin, a monk for DPS, and a monk tank. Before we start the dungeon, the group leader actually tells me when he wants Lust. Now that's what I like to see, a bit of communication. He wants Lust on the first pack, second boss, and then the last boss. As we are going through the dungeon, I'm realizing there is a lot of dispelling in Throne of Tides. This, on top of bursting, is pretty difficult. But we managed to get to the first boss with only a few deaths. I like this tank, he's actually asking me if I'm okay for mana. Lazy Najjar goes down fairly easily, and so does Commander Ulthok. But Ernuk, the third boss, I was very surprised he was actually keeping me on my toes. As DPS main, this boss is easy, just kill the totems and line of sight him. But for a healer, it's a different story. I'm having to dispel players while healing them. His mechanic I have to dispel pops up quite often, so I can't dispel them very quickly on them, as my cooldown for my spell is not ready in time for his mechanic. We do manage to kill him, but it really opened my eyes to how much healers actually do to keep the group alive. We finally move on to the ink boss. First pull doesn't go so well, as we get overwhelmed with the ink on the floor. So we try again, hopefully this time they will get rid of the ink. And on the second pull, we die again. I'm noticing that some of these players aren't actually doing the mechanic where you're actually supposed to get rid of the ink on the floor when you get a blue beam on you. That's why we're dying. But the worst part is we are out of time. That means our winning streak is over. We have not timed the key. But let's see if we can do one last push to kill the boss and try and salvage some points and loot. I go to repair my gear and I can't believe it. I don't have enough gold to repair my gear. It's all mostly yellow. This is not good. I kindly ask if anyone has a spare 500 gold. I can't believe I'm actually begging for gold. How embarrassing. But the group decides to attack the boss. Again, we get overwhelmed by the ink, but somehow we get him to the final phase, which leads us to killing the boss and finishing the key. We only get 19 points, but it's better than nothing. And we get a champion waist for loot. I actually might have to sell this just so I can repair. Well, those 2 keys I just did were very eventful, so I think I will call it a night. If you have watched all the video to the end, just want to say a big thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm really enjoying the journey of being a healer and learning something new. I can see getting Keystone Hero is not going to be easy, but I'm excited to keep on going and see if I can actually finish the challenge. Please leave a comment down below for any advice you have for me to improve on. Don't forget to subscribe for more of our healing journey with Soothe Daddy and leave a like on the video. But for now, I'll see you in the next one.